Funsize Show!
I'm here with Lee Brenner, partner and head of design at Funsize, where I also work. Why don't you tell everyone about like what it is that you do?
Short version is I work for you. Primarily, it's basically taking your vision and Natalie's vision for the company and kind of translating that into, the day-to-day of what the design team is doing. I am also, assisting and helping out with marketing and business development, meeting with potential clients, figuring out for a match and if it's the right product to take on, scheduling and resourcing, so making sure that the right designers are on the right projects. And then I work with the senior design leaders to put together the design org processes. So like how we do career growth, how we do performance reviews, like how we hire new designers, what are our processes for doing design, how do we run projects, how are our teams structured. So that's like a huge part of that ops related part of being head of design. But I definitely rely on the, delegating that out and giving ownership to the senior design leaders rather than me just trying to do all of that myself. But then I also serve as a senior design director. So on projects, I'll, provide senior design director oversight and guidance for projects and work directly, hands-on with the teams. That's one thing I think I love so much about Funsize that I think is super critical and important and differentiating for us is that all of us are designers here. If you're on the design team, you're a designer. So you're hands-on, like how to go in and you're proficient with the tools or the process, so that if you've got a gnarly project that needs a lot of hands-on, you can drop right in and be right there with the individual contributors working on wireframes, working on visual design, working on prototypes. Yeah, I guess the other new one is like kind of doing a little bit of cybersecurity and IT lately.
Yeah. You wrote the policy for our cybersecurity thing, which was unexpected. Have you ever had a job where you weren't hands-on with design?
No. As when I transitioned, into the design career, I've never not been hands-on. Yeah, I couldn't imagine not being hands-on. I think it would, my brain would break or something if I couldn't be making something. And that's why, why I think I love Funsize so much is that we're all hands-on. Like when you're on the design team, you know how to do design work and you can function as a designer. We're just at that right size where we don't need people to be managing other people. Like we're a small agency of consultants. And if you're a designer, like you need to be able to take care of yourself, like, because you need to be able to, work with a client and get shit done. So like for someone to go up in the ranks and then basically transition into people management here doesn't make a lot of sense, because like there's like people are adults here and they're super, high functioning and know how to do stuff and get things done. So they just don't need that layer of someone telling them what to do.
How do you make sure that you have time to do that? Because it is easy for things to atrophy if you don't make time for them.
I think I'm pretty good at time management. And I think the one thing that I have been focused on this year in particular is figuring out how to delegate to other people so that I can keep my priorities properly stack ranked. I'm not as hands-on, as I used to be, but I still am in Figma just about every single day, if not every day. And I, still doing, writing code every other day or so. But I think that's all about delegation.
What is the most important thing you think?
Man,
out of all of those.
That's a tough question. I mean, okay, if I have to have a P0, it's keep the business alive. Like ultimately, if we don't have a business, then we don't have anything. If you're in an impossible situation, you have to make an impossible decision, that has to be the P0. Unless you change, what the priorities of the company are. So as head of design, like I think that is ultimately the thing that's in the back of my mind is how do we make the business successful? Because without that, then you can't pay a design team. Without that P0, you're not thinking about which work should we take versus which work should we not take. how do we stay differentiated? How do we evolve in a market that's bonkers? Like all of those things sort of resolve down to what's the best thing to make the business keep going.
What do you think the most common priority of the role is?
It's also another tough question. Probably it's different for every head of design would be my guess is what their P0 is. Probably some of them are very business focused. Others I would imagine would be all about craft. Like the P0 is, the highest quality design craft. Other ones might be more focused on, it's all about the people, like it's all about having the happiest or most, well-balanced team or something like that.
You're a fascinating person to me because you have been an engineer, you have been an engineering manager, you have been a design technologist, you have owned your own agency, you have had your own startup. How many years of experience? How long have you been doing this?
I joined Frog in 2005. So now, oh my God, 20 years.
How do you even identify?
I don't anymore. I think it was definitely has been a struggle in my career because when I was, like you said, my degree is in computer science and I started off as a hardcore engineer and realized that was not my thing. And the reason I joined Frog is because I wanted to get back to my creative roots. And that's where I became a design technologist because Frog at the time was trying to spin up an implementation arm. At that time, I struggled with feeling like being accepted into the design community because everybody thought of me as an engineer. And, I don't want to overgeneralize, but designers look at engineers a certain way and engineers tend to look at designers a certain way. So there's just that thing. So I always struggled with that. And I think for the longest part of my career, as I transitioned from engineering to design technology to more design, I've always just struggled to identify as a designer because I never felt like I was a designer compared to all of these other people who were the capital D designers. And you haven't fired me yet, so I guess I'm doing all right.
Since I've known you, I've seen so much of what you do, right? I've seen you do strategic work for clients that gets approved by CEOs of major corporations. I've seen you build games. I've seen you animate artistic pieces. I've seen you do UI design, UX design, research. What is it you can't do? Like, what are you not good at? Do you feel like you need to be good at all these things, or you just happen to be good at all these things?
Maybe in the past it was a little ego driven, where I would see somebody be really good at something, and I would feel maybe a little competitive and be like, oh man, I want to be able to do that. But I genuinely, it's just I really enjoy just a lot of different things, and I just like doing stuff. I like making stuff. And with the way that my brain works, at some level, everything is the same thing. Like writing code is the same thing as doing interaction design or doing visual design or even drawing. Like in my brain, there's like this level of abstraction where no matter what it is that I'm doing, it all kind of funnels up to the same critical thinking process. So I think it's easy to pick stuff up because I'm just kind of taking my own internal problem solving ability and just applying it to a different topic.
Could you highlight some of the things that you've worked on in your past that you're the most proud of?
I can start at this beginning, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to end up with the thing I'm most proud of is being at Funsize and the opportunity that I've been given at Funsize. But when I started off my career, I was probably most proud of like just getting a degree because I was the first person in my family to get a college education. And then when I joined Frog, like that was my most proud moment because I never in a million years thought that I could work at a world-class design agency that designed the Apple, 2C, computer. And then I got put on the first commercial touchscreen project, the HP TouchSmart. And I was a nobody. They assigned me to this project and I ended up writing the animation engine and the UI framework for it. For this thing that, was built by HP and released to millions of people. And I can't remember which Pixar movie had just come out and they showed the TouchMark commercial like in the theater.
Wow.
And like that was my most proud moment because my kids were just like, whoa, you made that.
That's huge.
So it's been, I guess I've just been lucky. Like every moment has been my most proud moment because then, I went on my business partner, Brian Romanco, asked me to form Big Big Bomb. never in a million years thought I could do that, but we did. And it was, so that was a proud moment. Then never thought we would do a startup, and then Hayride got sold. That was a proud moment. But like I said, all of that is great, but like, and I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart, like this really, in terms of my career, I think is the most proud I've ever felt, or the most accomplished I've ever felt, because I've been challenged working here in ways that I never imagined, and have met such incredibly like dedicated and talented people and get to work with them. I'm done. Like I feel like I need to retire now because this is good. This is awesome.
What for you is unsettled or unanswered?
Probably a few things. In terms of Funsize as an organization, how do we evolve and stay differentiated in this industry? Because we don't know what the true impact of artificial intelligence is going to be. So that's probably the one in terms of business that keeps me awake at night, is how does Funsize as a company differentiate and evolve? And how do we put our designers in a place where they stay differentiated and competitive in a field of, so many other designers in the industry? Like, what can we give them for their career? Like, it's less of an issue for me because I'm sort of at the end of my career. But so it's not really about me. It's more about what can I do to empower and support the designers and help them to continue to grow and to give new experiences that are relevant to the technology today, so that they can learn how to be the designers that they need to be.